External environment. The external environment of the organization, or also called like environment of organizations, uh, is the set of all those factors that influence the organization and that do not belong to the system. This environment, in turn, is divided in two sections that allows the analysis of direct or indirect variables known as macroenvironment and microenvironment. The optimal operation of all companies depends on the way these aspects are analyzed and used for the survival of growth of the entire organization. Now we're going to talk about macro environment. The macro environment refers to all those aspects related to the exterior of the company, like it study elements that are difficult or impossible to control by the organization. So we must be aware of them because um, they can take advantage or they we must be aware of them to take advantage of them or failing that reduce their impact. This can be social, cultural, technological, economical, political, legal, and global. And the competitive competition. Social cultural. There are mainly demographics and cultural aspects. The demographics aspects address age, like education level, geographic distribution, population. They describe the composition of the population. Cultural aspects are all the norms, customs, and values of general population. Every nation has a cultural and social system that includes certain beliefs and values. Another factor that can enter in this part is the public perception of the organization, because this can be negatively affect sales or increase them with like a positive image of the company. The companies can influence public opinion through the use of public relations. Um, Now we're going to talk about the technological factors. It understands the level of scientific and technological advance in a society, include the physical base like plants, equipment, services, and the technological base like knowledge. Technological changes usually occur directly in products or in production process. Technological changes in products are all those modifications that a product undergoes directly to obtain new characteristics and capabilities. If there are successful, exciting products or new products. The economic factor. It's general conditions and trends of the economy that can be factors in the actives of the organizations. Economic changes in the world can also be opportunities of threats for organizations. Where the economy is going through a good times, companies take advantage of the growing demand for products or services that to have resources that allow them to grow. When the economy goes through a crisis or a bad time, in the event of recession, demand decreases, increasing the unemployment, decreasing profits, in conclusion, a bad time. Political and legal factors. They constitute an important impact on organizations since regulations, laws, norms, and all of those aspects define what companies can or cannot do. One example of this is that the government sets various regulations on product development, packaging, or transportation, which plays which play an important role in the cost of products or services and the ability to expand into new markets. If the government impose new rules or anything related to your product, they could increase your unit cost and affect the profit. Finally, the competition. They are those organizations that produce and market goods and services that seek to satisfy the same customer needs. Competitors can be present in two main ways. The first one is the organization that produce or manufactures goods and services similar to those of your company, of our company. For example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. There are companies dedicated to produce like the similar drink, and they compete in the same market. And on the other side, we have the different organizations that can influence customers interested to modify their purchasing intentions. An example could be a new cell phone, a new iPad, a new tablet that are currently already a serious threat to companies like Samsung, Toshiba, Apple, HP, dedicated to because they're dedicated to the production of laptops or tablets. Competition triggers a different way of doing business and approaching the market. It's important that a company has a strong strategy to know how to cope with it and always be at the forefront of new marketing tools, be aware of like taste of the customers, new tenants, something like that. Now we're gonna talk about a primary stakeholder of an organization. And a stakeholder in is an organization. A stakeholder in an organization, it's a group of, or it's an individual that may affect or be affected by the activities or reference of a group or individual that may affect or be affected by the activities of a reference company or organization. Each organization has its stockholder, also called interest groups, um, public interest, uh, joint controllers, or other. The Therefore, an interested group of people is an internal and or external person or organization that has or may have the capacity to affect the activity of our organization, like clients, suppliers, workers, the owners of the organization, investors, competitors, organizations. It can be public or the society in general. We can put as an example one very clear and easy to understand the figure of the client in organization. If at a certain moment a client demands a series of results in a specific project because it has been agreed in this way in the contract, the organization may have to obtain more human and economic resources to be able to achieve them if there are no positive results in the monitoring or mentioned project. In the case of a client, a supplier, and investor, it's quickly detected how they can affect or be affected as an interested party in the organization. But let's take another more complicated example of visualization. As a stranger, as it may seem in certain business, society, neighborhood, countries, or in general, any citizen become one of its most critical stockholders and on whom the greatness efforts must be focused to meet their requirements. Let's imagine a restaurant where there is also live music, a show for its customers and others. The residents of the area may feel affected by the noise that penetrates the area of the premises, and therefore they will have the right to feel any complaint, while the city council that regulates said activity. In this specific case, and from the point of view of the owner of the premises, there will be two clearly defined stockholders: neighborhoods and citizens, and the other one that complement the legislative body, like the city council. The first interested party, the neighbors and the citizens, what they expected and take for granted, it's to be able to be calm in their homes, resting without receiving the smell or noises from the restaurant. These norms call these norms could be called needs and expectations. For its part, the second interested party, the city council, will have as a need or expectation that the restaurant take into account the published and current regulations that regulate the noise in said business activity. What is the organization culture? The organizational culture is defined as a set of norms, habits, and values shared by the people who collaborate in a company, which create a sense of belonging towards the organization. In addition to the favoring integration between individuals. This set of characteristics makes it possible to describe the company, its experience, beliefs, values, and internal psychology, creating their own creating their own I'm sorry, creating their own identity with which employees can identify, and in this way, like working more harmonious in a more harmonious environment. Creating an adequate organizational culture is extremely important since applied correctly, It will define the strategies, structure, and system of the company, generating positive behavior, both like individual and collective, and directly reflect in the work results that we're gonna obtain. The main benefits of having a strong organizational culture are that you can create your own identity for the company, which will allow employees to work on a strategy aligned with the values of the organization, strengthening integration and a sense of belonging. Another one, um, they will increase the productivity levels of the collaborators, since by operating in an environment in which they feel comfortable, it will allow them to focus completely on on the task they must do, they must perform. Another one could be the company will project a good image both inside and outside of it. This will allow your brand to be recognized and talked about in a positive way. Another one could be by fostering a sense of belonging. You reduce job turnover, since employees who share the company's values will be not will be more loyal to you. This will allow you to avoid replacing collaborators and save the expense that this represents. And the last one is by having a good reputation, more professionals will be interested in collaborating with your company. From your organization, the talent attraction process will be much easier.